the society we live in today, it seems pretty bleak in my opinion. I think a lot of people right now, it seems like we're just not allowed to have, because if I'm being honest, I'm a pretty cynical person. Not because I want to be, but because of experience and the fact that I've tried optimism. It sucks. And yeah, so, but from the content I consume, you're not allowed to be cynical or pessimistic in the slightest. People hate you for it. And truth be told is just that some things work out pretty well for others and some things just don't for others. And I don't think there's anything wrong with acknowledging that, because optimistic people seem a little blind to me. But we're going to start with some just regular everyday things that most people probably think about. The first thing that I've told you about, my good friend Shaq. He's like a ghost. He doesn't like to leave the house much, but we talk a lot. And one of the main things we've been talking about recently is just affordable living in New York. It's pretty wild. David, you live out here?
Yeah. I live in Brooklyn.
You live in Brooklyn?
Yeah, so it's a little cheaper there, but
it's a little cheaper over there. Okay, yeah. So I've been looking into getting my own place, and if I'm gonna be honest for a second, I drive a truck. I think I make okay money, right? It's okay. It's, if I'm being, from the people that I can speak to, because I don't know, like obviously we're from, we're from different cultures. In my culture, we don't. We were raised to not talk about money a lot. Yeah, same. So it's very rare to talk to people and actually speak to them about what they make. You know what I'm saying? But in trucking, we talk about, like, that's kind of a common thing. Like a lot of us, we share that information with each other and let each other know, like, so that way, like, just in case you're working for an employer who may be ripping you off. So that is a conversation we have. And from the people who I have spoken with, a lot of people don't make, like, I make pretty okay money from, just compared to the people I've gotten a chance to speak to and see what they bring home. And I'm like, I don't know how some people, like, I know one person who I'm not going to out anybody as I speak, but I know one person who, like, currently drives a Mercedes and has their own place, and I make more money than them. And I'm just like, all right, something's not adding up here. Something is not adding up here. Because as far as getting ready to move, it's like the amount of money I have to put together just to get in the place and then start paying an arm and leg for a box. It's like, not to downplay it. It's like, but it's pretty insane. It's pretty insane. And I'm really curious as to how other people are making it work. Like, I'm really curious.
Yeah, I mean, you see these videos on YouTube of people saying, like, day in the life, or like a tour of my little New York City apartment, and it's like a little closet.
Yeah, people in shoe boxes. Yeah, for like $1,100 a month, and I'm like, yeah, that's, you know what I said? I don't know if I've heard it, but I know I definitely said that before. When I started to see more and more of those videos, I was like, this is becoming a mental illness. like just the idea that you can just sell people just about anything, diminishing, and continue to charge them more,
and they'll take
as
it.
You diminish it, and it's like, and they're just like, yeah, I'll take it. I don't know if they're crying on the inside or not, but definitely
when they see that first cockroach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I've heard of. Have you heard of? You actually, that makes me think about something else I came across before. Have you come across the I seen it was only one guy, but there's no way that he's the only guy walking around Manhattan he's paying like currently like $100 a month in rent.
$100? Where does he live?
$100 a month. Because he been here, because he's been in Manhattan since.
It's like rent stabilized or something?
Yeah, his rent's been stabilized the entire time.
Since when though? Like $100 is kind of.
I think I don't have the correct year, but I think it was from back in the 90s. Okay. That he was, he's been here since then. I think he's paying like $100 a month in rent, something crazy like that. And I was just like, I wonder how many more people.
Yeah,
That's what it kind of led me to think is like, I wonder how many more people are living in like really nice places though, and have this little low rent because of that same stipulation. You know, it got me thinking about that.
Yeah, that's interesting. What area that would be? Maybe there's like it was a development project like early on in the 90s, and then like
it could have been something like that. But I wonder, like, so they got me wondering about that. But then, I'm just trying to figure out, because I'll be honest, I do want to go for at the same coin. Although I'm really curious about how people are doing this, and I guess you could say I'm complaining about it, but I am at the same time I'm looking to go for those, like, not the luxury apartments, but the newer ones that have been built up recently. So they got studios up for, like, the low side is $2,000 a month, for a studio. And I'm just like, I want a 1-bedroom, but I'm just like, I just haven't done it this entire time, because I'm just like living like I usually like to be leverage. I don't want to use the word leveraged, but I would like my expenses to be up to like maybe 50% of my income for the month, and like once you start going over there, I think you start walking into deep waters.
Yeah.
I don't know about other people. I mean, you may already be in deep waters at half, but I think half is where you should start getting nervous. And
I heard something. I forget one of these finance podcasts. They said 20 to 30% of your income should go to your mortgage or your kind of rent cost.
Yeah, it's a rent.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I've seen. I've seen about 20 to 30. That's what I've seen. And I think that's okay. It makes sense. That makes sense. But then there's just so many other things to spend your money on. Yeah. Or not even just spend your money on, but to there's so many other things that you have to say no to, and then wrestle with the the day-to-day living of like you're gonna cut off Apple Music just so you could, you know what I mean? Just to have your budget a bit lower.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
That's interesting. Like driving a truck, do you like often sleep in the truck sometimes? I hear a lot of like if you go on a long trip.
Yeah. So right now I have there's local. There's local, there's regional, and then there's over the road. Over the road, you practically live in the truck, and you maybe get like some time off, like on average, I think it's like most over the road guys they'll get a day off. It's only like a day or two that they get off, like every 30 days or something like that. Just basically once a month. Once a month you get like a day or two off. Regional, that's the job I have now, where you go like in a radius. So it's in a time frame that allows you to make the trip, but you wouldn't be able to make it back the same day before regulation. So once you make that trip out there, you have to stay in the truck overnight, and then you can make your trip back. That's regional. And then local, those guys they see their bed every day. So that's pretty much how those are chopped up.
Yeah, interesting. Because I feel like if you got used to that, and maybe you don't have to pay as much to have that kind of lifestyle, paying $2,000 for a studio apartment might be a little. Yeah, you might be a little hesitant to do that.
And so that's exactly where I am now. So I'm currently doing regional, and if I'm being honest, I don't really need a place. I don't really need a place. But when you think about a lifestyle, it's like, I don't know how long I really want to, you know what I mean? I don't know how long I really want to live like that.
Yeah.
There's so it's really just that. It's that if you want to, honest, you want to invite a pretty girl over, it's like we're not hanging out there. Not at all. And so there's that. Also there's other lifestyle things as well that have me thinking about it. So but these rents are insane. These rents are certainly insane. If I'm being honest, where we at right now? Yeah. So if I'm being honest, I would like to go to Florida. I've been to Florida a few times. I really do enjoy it. But I have whom I have a jiu-jitsu coach.
Oh, okay.
He is right now, he's the sole reason I haven't left yet. And I don't really plan on leaving because he's kind of the guy just decided like, you know, I really want to become a black belt under.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to try to get him. I'm going to try to get him and his wife on the show and really give him some exposure because he's trying to build up his school. And it's taken him a while to finally take the leap, which he did. But he wants to make sure, we got to like jiu-jitsu has a hard time holding on to the new people that come in. You know what I mean? They have because it's really rough. It's really rough. You come in and you just get your ass kicked for years and you just got to stick with it. And then eventually you start getting really good. And, but you got to, that it's like a 2-3 year window. If you come in nonstop, it's like 2 years where you're just like, you'll be, you'll be wondering if you should even be doing this. And then,
humble period.
Yeah. It's extremely humbling. And,
how long have you been doing jiu-jitsu for?
So I've been doing it off and on and, and that's, you get a lot of that as well. But I've been doing it off and on for, I think I met Ace in 2018. I think it was 2018 where I picked it up. And I've just been off and on since then. Like even now, I try to go in and like work gets in the way a lot.
Yeah.
That's another issue. Work gets in the way of it a lot.
Yeah, because jiu-jitsu is getting popular. I mean, over the last few years, everyone's saying, oh, you got to do jiu-jitsu. You got to, any sport, go jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
What sports to put your kids in? Jiu-jitsu.
Certainly. And I think either wrestling or jiu-jitsu, certainly, with respect to striking as well. I think, like this is obviously something I've certainly gotten from, this isn't like my own thought that I've come up with, but certainly you should, everybody should start with grappling. You know what I mean? Because grappling it brings a different kind of mental challenge without, and at the same time it's perfect because you don't have to deal with, you can tear things and stuff like that, but those are actually like livable injuries that you can you can get over. But grappling just brings a different kind of like mental, physical, and spiritual challenge that like a lot of other martial arts may not bring, or even if they do bring them with striking, there's a weird thing about striking, like like it's something about punching someone in the face or someone punching you in the face and that weird realm of like, if it happens to be someone you don't really know that well, you don't know if they just got some frustration out on you just now or not, and, stuff like that.
Yeah.
With grappling, most of that's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, grappling can mostly remove all of that. And I think everyone should do it, whether it be wrestling or jiu-jitsu, before going into the other things. Like, not that you shouldn't practice anything else. It's just it's just certainly grappling should be the foundation. I think could be proved that one beautifully.
Did you see the UFC 302?
No, I didn't. I missed that one.
Okay, yeah, I forgot what exact choke, but what's his name? Islam. He won by like some kind of some kind of, I forget I think it was Darce choke. I think that's what it was called, or some kind of grab.
Yeah, it was either, that one, either the Darce or the Anaconda.
Yeah, but grappling is all their thing. That's
on Dustin.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, and these guys, these guys are and my coach says the same thing. He's like, he thinks if you're going into the cage, the game plan should be to, get him down, beat him up. Because on the feet, there's a bit more chance, even regardless of how good you may be. That's where anybody pretty much has the chance to get you. But there's no way to accidentally choke someone out. You know what I mean? You can't accidentally choke a guy out without knowing.
No, for sure.
Without knowing anything. And a guy that knows what he's doing, he's not going to let it happen.
Yeah.
So you're not going to accidentally choke out someone who's putting in the work of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Of learning defense, things like that.
Once we first got this like rug put on, the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, this is perfect for some wrestling, rolling around a little bit.
Yeah, and it is. It actually is. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, first thought in my head. We moved the table out. I was like, oh, this is perfect area.
You haven't? Have you done it before?
A little bit in high school. I was on the wrestling team, and
Beautiful.
then I did a little bit of jujitsu. My older brother's really into it, so I've been trying to find a place where I could actually get into some jujitsu.
Okay.
Back to the.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Of course, I would recommend you to my coach. But you would. He's currently in Limbrook, so you would have to be willing to travel all the way out there. So that would be. You just have to. You'd have to know if you have the time for that. And,
no, for sure.
But yeah, it's great. But yeah, he's got the school opening. I'm gonna try to do my best to try to help him. Try to help him grow the class. Cause I think that's his main concern. But he took the leap, and he's got the school. I managed to get a little, give him a little bit of a hand, and getting everything together. But I think he'll see, like, once he gets through this little rough patch, I think he's gonna see that he should have did it a long time ago.
What do you think about AI? And everyone's talking about if AI is going to be able to take up all the jobs, what are the people going to be resorted to?
Yeah, that's another one. I don't know. I haven't thought about that recently, but yeah, like when I just get time off of work, I really think about that. I'm just like, well, I'm like, what if this was, I'm like, what if this was my life for like the next decade, right? You just ain't got much to do. I'm like, I've kind of been compiling a list of the things I would do. It's like I would continue to try to, like, I don't know if I'm on the fence right now about whether or not I would want to build a family. I'm like this world's kind of crazy. I'm like, I don't know, but because I do, I want a family. Yeah. But I'm like, I really got to think about that one. But just as far as day to day, how would I spend my life? I don't know. I'd probably do jujitsu. I'd probably really focus on martial arts, just staying in shape in case the robots try to kill us.
It's interesting because when you ask a lot of people, they seem to lean towards like hobbies and like tapping into like that creative flow side. So it's kind of like, all right, if you have AI tools that can theoretically, right, who knows if this will actually happen, replace all jobs, let's say even like creative type of jobs. What is it about that state of mind when you're in flow or you kind of tap into the creative side that's unique against kind of the idea of robots taking over and them having like a super high intellect? What is it about human nature where we lean towards stuff that makes us feel, creative, happy, and in that kind of zone that we will lean towards that when all else is kind of streamlined by machines?
Yeah, right. Because because we all get a sense of purpose from our work right now. A lot of people do, that is, and yeah, that's a good question. I think it could be the source of the human element is that like basically that the reason we have the ability, or should I say the source of why we have the ability to create beautiful things, whether it be, you name it, poetry, painting, I'll even throw sports in there because there's a level of creativity in sports. The reason why we can create those things, I think they kind of go hand in hand. Like the source of it or is kind of connected to why the drive towards it. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of like reproduction and attraction. It's like we wouldn't really reproduce if none of us were attracted to each other. So I think you wouldn't be able to produce anything beautiful without an inclination to creativity. I would say that's why. Because if I'm being honest, I think that's good. You know what I mean? Like if we could get rid of all of the jobs, and then then all you really had to do was figure out that would be nice. But again, I don't know if the people in power really have.
And also it's interesting because European lifestyles, maybe like also like in Australia, they're more inclined towards, let's say, spend a couple hours for lunch break or spend a couple hours for dinner, and they'll take off these, large breaks of time to just enjoy, be in the moment, be in some kind of communion, enjoy time with their friends, family. But here in America, we're doing 9 to 5s, hustle culture, all that kind of stuff is very prevalent. So you see, it's like maybe people in the European countries would potentially lean more towards being okay with it as AI, as basically jobs are outsourced to machines. But in America, where the culture is like work, 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 you have the opportunity to do all these things. Are people going to struggle with that a little bit more? Are we more conditioned to work versus leisure time?
I think a lot of us are more conditioned towards work, against and I actually think that we most people don't. Most people don't actually want to. We do have the ability to force it down. Is that adverse reaction to just endlessly working? Yeah. Like I don't think I was certainly all for hustle culture at a point in time. And now I'm just like, it's like hustle culture is like the buffer that kind of I think it's like this thin wall in between. Realistically, we would like a lush or lavish lifestyle that didn't take too much out of our life force to get. I think that's what people would want. And I think if you wrap it in hustle culture, it almost justifies wanting it or something like that. Because you're like, well, if I work my whole week away, then it's okay for me to, go do whatever it is people like to do it, whether it's go hang out in a boat in the water or something like that.
It's a form of delayed gratification, basically.
Yeah, like they think, if I'm like it, like, and it's like, I don't think that's actually necessary because I'm a guy that spends a lot of time. It's somewhat entertaining to me, I'm not gonna lie, but I spend time in Instagram comments. I do. And it's because I want to see I also understand that I do think there's a lot of shout out to Shaq, because Shaq is the one who really says this, that he thinks there's a bunch of people that are not real and arguing with people left and right on in these comments, and I think that is true. But I think there also are some real people that are in these comments, and I just see what people say, and I realize what I think is that a lot of people are afraid to say, to just go against, I don't know if you know about Alex Hormozy.
Yes.
I love, he's one of those guys that I think are extremely highly intelligent. But I also think that he's on the borderline of psychopathy a little bit. And I'm no longer all for working endless hours and endlessly. And it's just it's totally. Hey, well, this is business, or it's or this is work. This is how you get anything good. And nah, it's not true. You know what I'm saying? Because what is it? The golden age, that time in, I think it was in the 50s, where you just worked a factory job and it paid for, you had the ability, it paid for your house. I think back in that time you could your savings account actually had large returns.
And when I went to I traveled to Alaska, and then watched some videos on YouTube about different parts of, let's say, rural America, near the Appalachia region. And it's interesting, back when they had these big coal mines, a lot people were paid not necessarily in monetary form. They were paid in these scripts. And those scripts would allow you to go to very specific stores in the nearby area where you could transact for groceries and whatever other products.
Really?
But because of that, you weren't able to move out of the area. And so you were kind of confined to that one job, because your whole basically form of sustenance was these little slips to exchange at the store for whatever products.
Really?
So
that's crazy.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly what timeline, if this is the 50s, I'm pretty sure it's the 20th century, but I wouldn't be able to tell you the specifics. But that was something interesting that I found out, that, back in the day, that was a main form of how people, how people's lifestyle operated.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's pretty interesting. I'm gonna look into that. So you don't have a name or anything on that?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna look it up in the meantime. But
I don't even know what you call it.
Interesting. I'm gonna see if I can find the YouTube video where I saw this in the meantime. Maybe we could, finish it up later.
Nothing yet?
Yeah, so here, I'm gonna put up this video on YouTube. Obviously, these are just what do you call it? I can't find the article, but this guy, his name is Peter Santinello. He travels all across he travels pretty much all across America, and he's traveled internationally before, and he goes to these kind of remote locations throughout the country, and he documented this area in, I think, Western Appalachia or southern West Virginia to Eastern Kentucky, so somewhere in between that belt. And so I'll put a clip where he describes it. Here, this portion.
Let's see.
All right, so let's play this little clip. Just make sure it's up. All right. It'll be probably like a minute or two. Yeah.
I think
if I wanted to get groceries, the best place was the Walmart. You want to get an avocado, you want to get probably the most fresh fruits and vegetables outside of a garden. It was Walmart. And so when you have it go away in a community like this, I mean, we're sort of entering, I think we'll get into it today, sort of food desert territory where it's a far way to get pretty much all your staples, outside of mini marts and chips and sugar drinks and whatnot. Very interesting story I was told yesterday by a local, and he told me back in the day with the coal mining companies, the miners would be paid in scripts, which was their own currency. Each coal mining company had their own currency. The catch was you'd have to go to the equivalent of the Walmart back then, which was a massive general store, depending on the mine, where you'd buy your food, your clothing, whatever you needed, you'd buy there. But you could not take that currency and go anywhere else with it. You want to leave town, you want to go off to the coast on a vacation with your family, forget about it. Your money only worked for the business that you work for, which is insane.
Yeah. So again, this guy, Peter Santinello, he's been blowing up on YouTube over the past few years. He pretty much just...
I've seen him before too.
You have? Okay.
I've certainly seen him before.
So he's done some series, whole bunch in the southern region, and this video title was called Poorest Region of America, What It Really Looks Like. This was 26 million views, one of his most popular during the time.
Okay. I'm going to finish that one up.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, that's crazy. And yeah. So what do you think about that? Do you think that that's like too much leverage for one party to have over another?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Again, I forgot exactly what time period he said this was in, or like how many years back, but I think it's insane how, you have, it was probably thousands, if not tens of thousands of people living in those communities, and they're literally isolated to these desolate areas just because there's like a super center where they can utilize the scripts that they were paid from their boss by after working like insane shifts in these coal mines with like the worst conditions ever. I think it's insane.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's insane.
I think I heard something about Bezos getting ready to, I heard him, I don't know how true it is, but I heard that he was going to start building his own neighborhoods for Amazon workers.
That's crazy. It's like when companies seem to start getting into like a form of welfare versus just like paying their people. Yeah. That seems to become there's something strange about that. It seems a little unsettling.
Yeah.
Usually in your head, if you think about like those conditions are reserved to like governments and stuff, but also they might be reserved to people who really need it. Otherwise, you would think companies, okay, they just pay you a salary and then you kind of have the freedom to do what you want with it. But having that kind of like relationship with your company that you work with seems a little invasive.
It seems invasive because it's like if you're, and I was talking to a friend about this and I was thinking, I was like, well, I was like, it's kind of crazy to think that between, if not just one of them, Elon or Bezos, I'm pretty sure they can buy everything in the country. Like just everything. I think about like all the trucks on the road, the truck stops, the homes to the apartment buildings. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they could buy everything. And my friend's like, well, there's laws against that. But I'm like, you know, I don't think those laws would stop them if they really wanted to make it happen. I mean, I don't think those laws would stop them. And so I thought about the reality of it because I was like, is a utopia possible within the country, you know, with the with the AI and and the removal of certain jobs and stuff like that. I'm like, you're gonna need to create something that people aren't too angry with, because if not, then you're gonna force a bunch of people who already have very little. You're gonna take away, the one thing that feels like they had to do something about their lives. You're gonna take that away. You're gonna force them to just live amongst each other with very little to do.
Right.
And you're gonna leave the place that they're in is like, it's like there's almost nothing to be happy about. It's like I don't think that's gonna end well.
It seems like it would be a reversion back to like how life used to be. And it's like, where all of this, capitalistic society, everything's booming. And then, once stuff gets replaced, it's like, all right, what happens then? Are we going to start, taking a step back in terms of what we do on day to day as humans? What's our lifestyle going to be like? And also it brings about, it's like, to what degree should government intervene in these things? How does regulation work in these scenarios? And, that's a little bit of a shady territory because, you've seen the history of various governments throughout the centuries. And that, if you consider what control could look like from a government in that sense, it could lean towards, countries like China.
Yeah.
Kind of want to be a little wary of that.
For sure. Yeah. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, that's a really good point. And that makes me think of, well, yeah, because like some people, they love capitalism so much. And it's like, well, sometimes it's like if you get too far in an extreme of it, you get too far to an extreme, it's like you're almost doing the same thing just in a different way now. Yeah. Which is, it's like if these companies start having, too much power, you'll almost be in that same scenario anyway. Yeah. It just won't be the government. It'll just be a bunch of private people with agendas who are still having this extreme leverage over your life.
It seems like, people say, study history so don't repeat, but everything seems to be a pendulum swing because ultimately human nature is the same throughout history. It's just different things to apply it to. So maybe at a certain point, less government regulation, maybe now it's like quote unquote less, it's popular to be more conservative now. People are saying we're shifting away from this like buzzword of wokeness in the culture. So now we seem to be shifting more towards those like slightly conservative values and maybe the idea of less government regulation. But maybe that'll swing back in a little bit where it's like, okay, now corporations, that are more involved in, let's say, the technology side could have more of that power. And then we shift back towards that. So it'll be a little bit different, but at the end of the day.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That's a good point. And I think you're right. Because if you ask me, like, everyone points to the government and says that the government is failing. And if you ask me, I think the government has been 110% competent through and through, but not only in their own agenda. They've been the one thing that I think the U.S. government has never failed in is fulfilling their own agenda. And I think there was a time where the citizens' interests may have been aligned with the government's, and the government made sure things happened the way they needed to. Now we don't seem to be as important to the government, but they're still getting whatever it is their agenda is. They're making it happen still. And because I hear a lot of people say that like there's a lot of incompetent people at the that work for the government, and it's like, even if that were the case, you don't need a bunch of super intelligent people working for you in order to carry out. You know what I mean? Yeah. You just need some people who can do who do as they're told, and come in and do their job every day. And so long as they do their job every day, you at the top with your agenda gets, you know, it comes to fruition.
That's been something interesting, at least that I've noticed, like with the pandemic. It's like the degree to which people will just stay silent and be compliant to like whatever it is very high. And so if you put behind it some kind of like fear or incentive or whatever, or like some sort of comfortable like work structure, they'll lean towards like this quote unquote, this big government protecting me, let me lean towards that and do what they say. And so if you think about people in their jobs who are maybe like, you know, employed by the government, they have all these benefits, they'll lean towards the side of following whatever it is. So if you have a whole bunch of compliant people with maybe less checks and balances, which theoretically that should be the main component of the system, the checks and balances, you can see how quickly that can shift over X number of years. And maybe that's part contributing to what we're seeing today.
And and that's what I think. That's what I think is happening, and that's what I think has been happening for a very long time. Like, because if I'm being honest, if I had a job paying me $150,000 a year, and all I had to do was, you know, carry out, you know, X task from day to day, and you know, certain things get taken care of. It's like, I don't know how. You know, it's very difficult to say that you can just you should just risk all of that, you know, for a greater good. That, like, you know, that's like so, you know, it's like so muddy. Yeah. And it's like because you could be working towards like maybe, you know, maybe the agency you're at has a good front on or maybe they actually are working towards a few good things, but their overall agenda could be a bit nefarious. And it's like, it's hard to say that someone should just be like, you know.
And then when you mix like you take away the example of government, but you mix in lobbyists into that, and it's like the same idea, these people working within, and you can see how much more muddy it could become. Exactly.
And
so the leniency would be towards like just default to do the tasks and then, you know, not think about anything else.
And exactly.
Even if you have the best of intentions, that might just not even faze you because of how convenient it is to go a certain way with things.
Exactly. That's what. And it's like, so it's like it brings it really it brings like so many different layers that are just in such decline that I find it. If I'm being honest, I find it really hard to be optimistic about anything. The only thing that I can be optimistic about is the fact that I would continue to I would continue to just try to, like, before my days are over, I'll try something, or try to put something in place to maybe save what America had stood for. And like, cause I know now, like I can't, like I'm 30 now. I haven't done anything now to, you know what I mean? I haven't done anything or put anything in place yet, but I'm like, if I can build up a strong enough foundation to where I have the space to actually brainstorm something like that, it's like, I could at least push towards trying to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, let's take a quick break just to let this ambulance feature of recording in New York.
New York, baby.
But yeah, I would say like that hope, I think a lot of people are looking for it and they just don't know how to structure that into, you know, however they see the world. I think a lot of people are longing for it, whether no matter who it is, they all kind of want it and they're trying to find that hope in something. And I think, you know, it's good to provide people with that. It's possible to find that, and you don't need to find, you know, necessarily a TikTok video that'll promote that for you or any of these like sensational ideas. You know, there's a lot of stuff that's going wrong, but as long as, you know, you stick by your values, you do good, you find what you're passionate about and you go forth by it, that's ultimately the thing that'll keep you straight and hopefully inspire other people along the way.
All right, beautiful. Yeah, I don't think I need to follow up on that one. That was great. Sure. I think, yeah, I'm not even gonna force that. Fuck that. That was good. That was beautiful. I think that wraps it up. Like the video, subscribe. I don't think my comments are on. I'm not sure why. I'm trying to figure that out. Leave a comment if you can, and follow us on Instagram. I'm currently right now. We're only on Instagram at The Growth Experience. Experience is is 3 experience. The Growth Experience on Instagram. Give us a follow over there, and we will see you guys next time. All right.
Peace.